Am I in the wrong for sleeping with another person after my wife wanted to open our marriage? So my wife, female 30, and I, male 33, are married for 8 years now. We had a fair bit of ups and downs during our marriage. I found out that my wife had cheated on me with a man that she knew from Tinder. She told me after they hooked up 3 times or so. First, I was shocked and wanted a divorce because cheating is a no-go for me. However, she told me how sorry she was and that she only loves me, and she was really trying her best to show me that I could trust her again. And I did. Now let me introduce you to my wife's best friend, Chris, male 31. They've known each other for 15 years or so, and whenever we had issues, she always ran to talk to him. Chris is single. He's had some relationships, but it never lasted that long. I know he has feelings for my wife. He's always telling me that he wants a girlfriend that is just like my wife and keeps telling her that I don't deserve her. I never thought that much about it because in my head, Chris is kind of like a bootlicker, and I never thought that he had a chance at my wife. Fast forward 6 months ago. We again had our ups and downs, and my wife shocked me with a suggestion for opening up our marriage. I was shocked and immediately told her that I don't want that. At this point, we hadn't slept with each other for like 8 months or so. She was never in the mood. And after trying many times, I just kind of stopped because I did not want to push her. I love being physical, and being without it for 8 months made me really unhappy. So the more I thought about her suggestion, the more I wanted to try it out. So I agreed. She was baffled at first, but in the end, we both agreed and made up some rules which involved there are no feelings involved from either of us or the person that we sleep with. No sleeping with anyone in our apartment. We tell each other when we sleep with someone else, and we always use protection. I have a coworker, female 28, let's call her Sarah. She's a very flirtatious girl, and I always thought that she was a bit into me. One night after our shift ended, we walked to the bus stop together, and I told her about the open marriage thing. She was immediately all ears and was very interested. She joked about if I wanted to shoot my shot, I can always ask her. So I did. I told her about the rules and the feelings thing. She made it very clear that she finds me sexually attractive, but there are no feelings. The next day, I talked to my wife about my coworker, and she told me that I can go for it. Some days later, I went to Sarah's place and we did the deed. It felt good, but it wasn't the same as sleeping with my wife. The following days, my wife was really quiet and we didn't talk at all. I knew something was wrong, so I confronted her. I thought it was maybe because of me sleeping with Sarah. Oh boy, was I wrong. She told me that her and Chris had slept together. After hearing this, I effing screamed at her and we got into a huge fight. Not only did she break the rule of not telling me when she was going to sleep with someone else, she also broke the first rule about the feeling. Her excuse was that we never made it clear when we should tell each other when we were going to have sex with someone else, before it's happening or afterwards. But what really tipped me off was that she was trying to convince me that Chris has no feelings for her. In her eyes, I was overreacting way too much. I didn't talk to her for 2 days now, and I'm staying at a friend's house at the moment. In my head, I keep thinking that Chris is somehow manipulating her so that she separates from me. Am I in the wrong for putting my boyfriend's kids outside after he instructed them to go nuts? My boyfriend, now ex, has 3 kids, all 10 and under. Their bio mom died giving birth to the youngest. We dated for about a year and a half. I got along well with all 3 of them, and as a unit, we were comfortable and, dare I say, complete. They were spending a lot of time over at my house, and I genuinely enjoyed it. Then just recently, during a holiday when all the kids had the day off from school, preschool, my boyfriend and the kids came over for a day of fun. They'd been there for about an hour when my boyfriend said that he needed to go to the store to get some things for dinner. His treat. I told him we could just order a pizza and enjoy the time together, especially since I'd promised the kids a whole day of gaming and I was looking forward to keeping my word because my own parents and I played video games together when I was a kid. My boyfriend insisted that he would be in and out and not to worry. Not even 5 minutes after he left, the kids started acting up and completely out of control. I mean screeching, throwing things, opening the fridge and pulling all of the food out, taking a pen and running up and down the hallway while writing with it on my walls, etc. Nothing I said or did made any impact. They wouldn't go to timeout, they didn't care about not playing games, they wouldn't listen. It was a complete 180 from the kids that I'd grown to know and love. I was calling my boyfriend over and over, and most of the time he sent me to voicemail. When he did pick up, he would tell me, "That's nothing. They're fine. You're the adult." And when he was finally annoyed with me, he told me to handle it how I see fit and that he would be right back. He hung up abruptly, and when I went to call him back, I heard something shatter. I whirled around to see my mom's urn shattered on the floor. It had been on my fireplace mantle next to her picture, and one of the kids had gone on their reading chair to knock it down. I absolutely lost it. I started shrieking at the top of my lungs for them to get the F out of my house. They seemed to be in shock and wouldn't move, so I grabbed the 2 eldest by their jackets and threw them out of my front door. And as I was marching back to my front door to put the youngest out as well, my boyfriend appeared. He demanded to know why the kids were crying, and I told him, because your kids are godless demons and they're going to wind up in jail or dead when they grow up. I then shoved his youngest at him and turned around to go back to my house. He followed behind me, scolding me for abandoning the kids, and instead of telling him to egg off, I told him to come see what they'd done. He looked at everything with a dry expression. I mean nothing to show outrage at how the kids behaved. I started thinking that he was purposely aloof when he said, "You failed." I thought I'd misheard him, so I asked, "What?" He said that he told the kids to put me through the ringer because he wanted to propose to me and he needed to be sure that I could handle the stress of being a mom. He said that if I was really his true love and if I truly loved the kids, I'd be able to handle all of this without calling him over and over or dishing the kids outside. I started rage crying and asked him if he understood that they destroyed my mom's urn because of him. And he replied, "She's gone now, bunny. We're here. You were going to have to toss that creepy thing out anyway, once we moved in." I slapped him. Not once, but twice. I didn't care if the kid saw or if he called the police, because who the F actually does this to someone? He told me that he would forgive me when I call and apologize to him and the kids. I told him to go to hell, and he said that I'd see things clearly when I calmed down. And then I took pictures of the destruction and posted about it on every social media account I have. Apparently, he has my email because he emailed me and told me that I was overreacting to everything, and that everything could be cleaned or replaced, including my mom's ashes, as they were most likely dust and cigarette ash and not her actual ashes. I have zero desire to get back together with him, because as far as I'm concerned, he's a sociopath. 98% of my friends and family are totally on my side, but the other 2% said that he was right about me, and that no matter what, I'm the adult and I willingly put kids in danger. So now I'm wondering, am I in the wrong?
I made a comment to my ex-husband when we signed our divorce papers, and his girlfriend now accuses me of being the reason he didn't propose to her on Christmas. My ex-husband and I are both late 40s. We're a real love story for 17 years. He was my world and I loved everything about him. I thought he loved me too, but about 2 years ago, for about 2 months, he was changed. That change was so palpable that I knew in my heart that it was another woman. He stopped kissing me good morning or good night, stopped asking me on dates, and always declined when I did. He didn't doze off with his head in my lap to a movie every evening, always missing the end. Now he sat on the other couch. He stopped saying he loved me, and he stopped texting me during the day. I didn't know what to do other than wait and see, and sure enough, after 2 months, he told me that he was in love and wanted a divorce. I was heartbroken, but I couldn't do anything about it. I would never beg someone to love me no matter how much I loved them. He moved out and started the divorce process. His new girlfriend, early 30s, moved in with him not long after. My ex-husband is very successful and our divorce was finalized a couple of weeks ago. I haven't seen my ex-husband much since he moved out. I don't know what's gotten into me. I have kept civil and prideful during the separation. I was surprised that he was with his lawyer because I thought he just signed and didn't need to be there. I signed and then looked at him for the first time in 2 years, and just without giving myself the time to stop and keep my dignity, I smiled and said that he now lost the last woman who he would know for sure ever loved and saw him for him and not for his money or assets. He was too smiling at first, probably relieved that I finally was fine enough to look at him again. He complained to our son that I never looked at him anymore. His smile faltered and turned into a shock. Then he started crying. I was terrified of what I just did and left almost running. I got a text from his girlfriend this morning with many insults about me, my character, and my looks and age, because he was supposed to have proposed on Christmas with all the family present, but he didn't. He now refuses to talk about it with her or any of her family, but she means that it was my fault. I've ruined their relationship. I blocked her, but I can't help but wonder if I really did ruin their relationship. I even wondered if I care. All I know is that he looks so old and pathetic. I wonder if I ever really knew him or loved him. My husband found out I cheated years ago. Any way I could fix this? I, 36 female, have been married to my husband Evan, 37 male, for 13 years. Before marriage, we dated for around 4 years. We have 3 little kids together. I will start by saying I love my husband more than anything, and never once in our entire 7 years together did I think about cheating. However, back in our first year of dating, I, then 20, joined his family for Christmas. We all got really drunk and I passed out at some point. When I woke up, I was in his brother's, then 24, bed naked. I'd woken up just as he was finishing. I was terrified and just remember pushing him away and running back to my husband's room. He was passed out in his bed and so were most of others that night, so no one woke up and I just took a shower and cried myself to sleep. I left the next morning and I had never told anyone about what happened that night. Believe me, I was disgusted with myself and really ashamed, but I was really scared of losing Evan. He was my first real boyfriend. He was mature, sweet, kind, and we had started out deciding that we wanted long-term commitment. I didn't want to lose any of it for a drunken mistake. I stopped drinking completely since that incident and never ever put myself in such a vulnerable position again. His brother moved from out of town soon after that, and the only text he ever sent was warning me to never tell anyone or Evan would leave me for being a slut. He definitely argued you, dude. Oh my God. I'm sorry I judged you in the beginning. I never spoke to him unless we had to during the handful of family gatherings he attended. I was never alone with him again. The guilt sort of lessened over the years and we were happy. Married right after college and have started a family since. I was very happy and so was Evan. But last week, his brother came back to town. He didn't tell anyone but called Evan to meet up and told him everything. Apparently, he had found God and wanted to clear his conscience. Evan came home and he was crying. He's never shouted at me like that and he called me disgusting and kept crying, asking me how I could do something so vile. I begged and apologized. I tried explaining I was drunk and didn't realize what was happening. I swore I had no intentions to cheat and had never wanted to cheat, but he wouldn't believe me. He has a job that makes him travel quite a bit. Now he thinks I was cheating all those times he was away and I can't convince him that it's not true. He's questioning my intentions, my love, my loyalty, everything. He even asked if our kids were really his. He even said he wants to divorce. I know I made a horrible mistake and probably deserve what's happening, but please, please, is there anything I can do to salvage my relationship? I don't want a divorce. I don't want to force or push him, but I want to reconcile. Is there any hope? Is there anything I can do to save my marriage?
Am I in the wrong for refusing to give my sister an EpiPen? Me and my sister hate each other. It's always been this way since childhood. Neither of us is right or wrong, as we've both done equally terrible things to each other when growing up, so in the end, we agreed to go no contact with each other. We hadn't seen each other or talked for years. Today, I had a housewarming party and invited a few friends and family. I invited specific family members and my sister was not one of them, so I was surprised when she showed up. I did ask her in private why she was there, and she said that she just wanted to congratulate me on my house and to hell with the beef from our childhood. She couldn't fool me though. I know she was just there to see my house. I asked her that she leaves because I didn't want her in my life whatsoever, but she, along with my parents, said that I was being unnecessarily dramatic and it's just one day. She ended up staying way longer than I would have liked and treated herself to the food that I didn't include her in when I was planning. Honestly, her whole presence felt so unpleasant and her passive-aggressive comments about my interior decor kind of ruined my mood. But I turned a blind eye because I didn't want any drama. Later on, she also helped herself to cake and not so long after, she started having an allergic reaction. It had almonds and I'd forgotten that she was allergic to them. Not that I had to remember anyway because I didn't invite her in the first place. What really set me off was her audacity to ask me why I put almonds in the cake knowing she was allergic. The reaction got really bad and she asked for an EpiPen. I had one, but I didn't want to give it to her because for one, they're hella expensive to just give to someone that you don't even like, and two, it's not my fault that she indulged in a cake that wasn't meant for her. I simply denied having one. They took her to the hospital, to which I assume she got treatment. Part of me feels terrible because the situation could have been worse just because of my pettiness, but I feel like she brought it on herself.